Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for it, and I'm grateful to her for her work. She's identified a number of failings. I want to start by saying that I'm humbled today, for which I received a fixed penalty notice. Now that Sue Gray has completed her inquiry and everyone can read her report, I want points of context. 10 allowed them to the public servants who secured the PPE that saved the distribution of the vaccines that succeed them for everything they had done, because I believe that at these occasions to be a breach of the rules. But Street and the Cabinet Office together have hundreds of rooms, and again I say this not in any way to extenuate my personal responsibility, but to give context to these events. I was in particular appalled to learn security personnel, and this afternoon I personally apologised to do the same. As Sue Gray acknowledges, permanent secretary charged with upholding the highest standards. I've appointed a new leadership voice any worries they may have. Every hour to ease the hardship caused by the rising cost of living, to protect our nation from the after across our United Kingdom. That is the mission: unite and level up across our United. We're going to try and get as many questions in as possible. Can I just say one thing? We'll have a chance. Can I just say one question each? Let's go first to Chris Mason of the BBC.
Thank you, Chris Mason from the News. Prime Minister, address our viewers your judgment, your integrity and your willingness to tell the unvarnished truth. Bluntly, talk to our viewer, convince our viewer that you're not tempted or willing.
No, I thank you very much, Chris, and I hope that the imaginary viewer, I hope it's not an imaginary, and look, I've tried to explain as clearly as I can what happened, why I said what I said to the House of Fault. I've tried to explain the event in the Cabinet Room, and on July 19, 2020, where I was basically standing a brief period surrounded by some other colleagues. And then I've tried to explain the valued colleagues, and I know that people will think for very long hours when they're giving up a huge amount to serve their country, and they're moving on to some other part of government. I think it is right to thank them, or leaving government service altogether. I think it is right to thank them. I believe that they were work events. They were part of my job, and for those events. For the rest, I just want to say, you know, I appreciate that things didn't go that I certainly wouldn't have wanted to see. What happened with the custodians was plainly to them personally. Harry Cole, the Sun.
Thank you, Prime Minister. On that point, sick was left in corridors, wiring up the walls, left to clean up. Staff who work for you were rude to security members in this building. What steps are you taking beyond asking them to say sorry? And is there a place in your administration for that sort of behaviour? And if I may, you were asked directly by one of your MPs if you ever asked Sue Gray not to publish her report subsequent to the police investigation. Do you want to clear that up now? Did you infer at any point be necessary?
No. So look, on that, it's impossible for the terms of reference make it absolutely clear that Sue has gone. I think that the absolutely frank with you, but you know, the alleged rudeness. It is. I will of course continue them, and as I said earlier on, at the very least, that they should apologise.
Prime Minister, we are sitting or standing in your case in the place to break the law while in office. Now you talk about other people who.
I think that I think Matt, the best thing I can report, and you look at the was there and so on, I think you get a pretty fair picture. And yes, I bitterly regret it. And engine number 10 and the way engaged in work and in socialising.
To have been organising parties against Ed Ball government, going to face any sort of disciplinary process as a result of this sorry saga?
Yes. So first, politicians to talk about officials in that way. Any official. We've all no. So I want to be clear. I didn't know me, but everybody who's in any way involved in this whole business.
Thank you, Prime Minister. The fines that were issued across the nation to determine whether a number of edge cases broke the rules that you set work and what qualifies as socialising. So in hindsight, were the rules that you set simply too unclear, too illogical? If I may, on another issue that really does affect people up and down.
Tom, on the rules, we had to implement actions. You could have just relied on people's personal responsibility. The actions you could have just relied on people's were unknowable. The difficulty was that we were facing a pandemic, and all the medical and scientific advice was that you had to proceed with the rules. Tom, I've got to, we should have recognised that the boundary between was going to be hard to draw, and things should have been done differently, and they certainly are being done. Look, the COVID pandemic cost the government a huge fiscal position. Employment is very shocks, exacerbated by come. I've just got to be realistic with people about that. Throughout the pandemic, it won't be easy. We have some fortunate fundamentals, not the market. We have a lot of firms who are looking to hire people, looking to grow, and that feel it. And believe me, the government is going to do everything we can to help people. Let's go to Esther Weber, Politico.
No. Given everything we've heard and what you said about the boundaries, not the top jobs, okay.
On me in particular, and my role, I just remind you of what I have said, pernickety, when I say that I thought the things that I was attending were worky. When I say that I thought the things that I was attending events, I thought that my job was to government service. It is no to government service. It is no mitigation, but it's helped set the context that these were real. Beth Rigby, Sky.
Thank you. Prime Minister, vomiting dossier really, isn't it? Of what's meant to be the place, the heart of, for a moment, during the past 5 months, or even 3 in 5 Britons think you should.
Yes, Beth, of course I understand why people are, and why people have been angry at what took place. All I can serve the people of this country, not just to of living, and to deliver our manifesto commitments, on which I really feel it's my job to get on.
Was there any point you thought about it though? Because
well, look, I mean, I just repeat my point. I think that and no matter how bitter and painful the conclusion, government's got to keep moving, and we are. And just this week we're getting on with things that, again, delivering on things that have been left undone for a very long time. Trying to in Northern Ireland, incredibly difficult thing to do. Government for decades have shirked it, but we're getting on and doing it. And Mandelson is supporting what we're doing, even if the current opposition is not. We will get on and continue to do.
Prime Minister, people in this room told us that parties took place in the press office.
What they told you, but my habit was working, and they were working round the clock. They set out to deceive you about that, but plainly it wasn't right. And a lot of changes already, and we'll continue to make changes. But I think to stress that I think we just have to. ITV.
Prime Minister, home. You saw what was going on. You participated in what was going on. You made the rules as Prime Minister.
What I said to Parliament, and look at what Sue has said about what. Just to get back to what I said, I think in the first answer. Okay, standing up at my desk, it didn't occur to me then that this was a breach of the rules. It was speaking to colleagues about the departure of another or an official. It didn't occur to me that this was anything except what I in the House of Commons. And yes, things did not go well. And a very big place. There are that I was personally at work events. But look, that doesn't absolve me. I continue to make sure that we and the staff who now it's the best thing I can do now. With that is what we are going to do with it. And I'm under strict. I was under strict instructions to agree to no more than 9. But such is my natural generosity of soul. I will go to.
From the Mirror. Prime Minister, you say that Sue Gray. From the Mirror. Prime Minister, you say that she started investigating, and then says in her report that she started investigating, and then says in her report that she paused when the police started looking at it, and then concluded after the police closed the investigation that she were investigating, and then says in her report that she paused. What were you, your wife, and 5 aides doing for several hours with alcohol and snacks in your political team? See her report before this morning and either have any role in editing it or requesting the removal of any facts about gatherings and dining suites.
No, the report and read it in its entirety. We got it at 10 o'clock, I think shortly after 10 o'clock this morning. And when I said earlier on, something I simply hadn't heard before, and maybe they'd have been published before, but I simply hadn't. Report is the flat has a dual use. It's historically Prime Minister's. That was what the Metropolitan Police did investigate.
From LBC, it's absolutely blatantly obvious from Sue Gray's report that the staff involved knew they were breaking the rules. They talked about going out by back entrance commons. You told the British people again and again that no rules were broken. When those stories started to come out about the parties, did it?
The inquiry. Who's next?
Martin Reynolds, who ran your private office, he invited everyone to the Bring Your Own Booze party. He did things sent on an ambassadorial post. Can you explain to the public why you're keeping him in post?
Look, I'm not. I really, any other or any or political appointee or anybody in this whole affair. I think it's right. So in that Sue Gray has put out, I think it's entirely right that I should be the one who is not. An inquiry. I don't think anybody, just to repeat my point, I don't think anybody could fairly say it is a very thorough and extensive piece of work. It covers all sorts of events. What we need to do now is learn from what happened, and I'm not saying I minimise, and we really need to focus on that. And with that, I'm afraid, having given three more answers than was promised, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you.